That's the ferry we're taking this morning. Oh, I can't eat it right now. You save it.
Because this is a whip-off ferry because it's not open yet, and it's supposed to be open.
Is it? It's a rip-off ferry?
And even Mommy and Daddy set a timer up to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
But that's why you slept in your clothes last night.
Yeah.
Did you make them do that?
All my fault.
I wanted to. We could have waited like an whole hour.
It's almost 8 o'clock right now. No, almost 8 o'clock right now.
Wait.
We're taking an early ferry from Split to the island of Hvar. And usually we're here early because Marlene likes to be early. And that means we're standing outside the ferry waiting for them to let us in.
A relationship advice. When you start dating somebody, make sure you guys like to show up at the airport at the same time. That is like #1 relationship advice.
Then nobody will ever get married. Coffee? I wasn't always a coffee drinker. Now I drink coffee out of convenience, I think. Because Marlene's making it for her in the morning, so I usually prefer tea, but if she's gonna make coffee, I'll just drink black coffee. It's easier for everybody if you can just make a big batch. Good morning. That's what I'm trying to say. We're here in the village now. We spent the last 3 weeks stuck in Split for a couple reasons. We had to do a bunch more errands and paperwork to get our residency documents in place. We're here in the village of Zastrazisce on the island of Hvar. And this is kind of where we prefer to spend our time when the weather is not too cold. Unfortunately, it's gotten pretty cold in the last couple of weeks. And it's going to get colder. And we're about a week away from Christmas. There's not a lot of people here, which is normally what we prefer, but I think for Christmas, we're going to go back to Split. Now that we have all of our travel documents squared away, we can more or less begin traveling south. This is our last couple of days here in the village, and I wanted to show you guys around. So today, what we'll do is I'm going to give you guys a little tour of this little house in the village and do a little walk around and show you guys what it's like to live in the village here. Eggs, potato, bacon, onions, local olive oil. That'll work. We're in the little village of Zastrazisce. Don't be intimidated by the number of syllables in the name. The people here are plenty friendly. In 1950, in a little stone shack just around the corner from where we're staying, Marlene's dad was born. And in 1968, his family moved to the US, where he met Marlene's mom while living in Los Angeles. This house that we're in now was built stone by Marlene's grandfather when her dad was just 4 years old. Each stone was chiseled by hand to just the right shape. With the help of a donkey, they were hauled to location to be stacked together just as people on this island have done for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Today there are power lines that have electrified all of the houses in the village, but there is still no running water. The island is rocky and land is too hard for wells, so everyone just have their own, or at least access to a cistern that collects rainwater. This little village used to be a much more happening place than it is today. There were generations of families inhabiting every stone house, with children running around playing tag and chasing cats all day long. Chickens, donkeys, and goats roamed in their yards. Aromas of lavender bushes and olive oil filled the air. This was their home. People lived here. But over the years, just like many small towns in the US, younger people left these villages to move to bigger cities. And today, the busy time is summer. Tourism is the biggest industry by far in Croatia. And for those few months a year, this little village gets to relive its glory days. A narrow path just off the main road meanders down to a small cove called Steniva, carved out by millions of years of rain and wind. It is the perfect little spot for a swim in the Adriatic. During the peak summer season, Mate's place is where you want to be for a cup of cappuccino, some homemade prosciutto, anchovies, and definitely a cold beer or two. We have spent our fair share of afternoons there soaking in the sun and water during our previous visits. But winter here is a totally different story. If you hang out at Steniva long enough, you might be lucky to see a local resident hop into their boat to check on their traps. But most likely you'll be the only one there braving the chilly wind funneling up the steep north-facing rocky walls. Most of the population on the island lives on the north side. It slopes more gently and is better protected from the wind. However, on the south side, there are some cool places to explore. Part of Marlene's family's property connects down to the shoreline, and along the way there's a natural cave. Each time we visit, we try to hike out and find it. It has gotten pretty overgrown, and it took us 2 tries to finally locate its entrance. We've never been here during the winter. It is eerily deserted like a ghost town. In this part of the village, there are maybe 3 other houses with people living in them full time. In the morning, if we wake up early enough, we can walk to the little bakery and try to score one of the limited loaves of bread. But usually if we don't get there by 10 a.m., we're out of luck. The only little store in town down the road is about the size of a 1-car garage. It stocks the essentials, but not much more. The woman who runs the store opens a few hours in the morning, and then a couple hours after 5 p.m., mostly because it doubles as a gathering place for the full-time residents that live here, who like to come here for a cold one after a long day of work. The closest town with a real grocery store, schools, and other services is Jalsa, a 30-minute drive away to the west. The road on the island has been rebuilt partially and expanded in recent years, making it a proper 2-lane highway with proper shoulders. Before that, most of the old road couldn't easily fit 2 vehicles going in opposite directions. Making matters worse, you would often come across a bus barreling away, since many people who live in these villages don't own cars or are too old to drive themselves anymore. During our time here, we have befriended a little pup named Rio that lives with a neighbor just around the corner. He loves the kids and practically lived with us during our time here. He would come running up to our house every morning and hang out all day until we go to bed. Most nights, we have to shut the door on him to get him to go home. We're lucky to have this place to stay in while we're in Croatia. While we're looking forward to visiting the rest of Europe in the next couple of years, it's going to be hard to have another experience as authentic as the one that we've had here. So that was a little tour of our life here in the village on the island of Hvar in Zastrazisce. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to be heading out on our way soon, going south from Croatia into countries like Montenegro, Albania, and eventually Greece and Turkey. So be on the lookout for those videos. But until then, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a good one.